So let's see what the 56 has to say. Six, feeling, relationship, wisdom, highest good, highest vibration, 56 weeks, communicate. Wow. The first thing the 56 said is we're going way out. Then I felt like I was in the rings of Saturn almost. I could feel the body of the 56 and the waveform that vibrates out from that. And 56 is wanting us to understand the depth and breadth of the field when you have the 56 grounded in your chart. And there's a veneration of sorts that to truly understand, have a veneration for that field, that it really moves, what comes from the 56 really moves out in through the collective and the cosmos. And the 56 is reflecting, shows how it reflects what is in not only the person who has the 56 in their chart, but also the 56 in the field. There's a reflection of what's in the field, and how what comes through you when you hold the 56, or what comes through the 56, really moves mountains, if you will. It's such a powerful waveform. And I'm still in the, it's still showing me this planet spinning, and the field of consciousness that spreads out, what radiates out from the wisdom of the 56. And what it has me watching is the impact of what comes through the voice of the 56. Almost like when you're a reflector being, if it's a mirror, just watching how what comes through impacts the collective, the environment, everything that is receiving the messages through the 56. And it shows me that what comes through the 56 really opens people up. And it showed me, like, imagine I'm looking at a globe, we see globes that spin like in children's room, and it opened the globe. And it's like really looking inside. So the message that's voiced from the 56 really gets individuals and the collective to look at what's going on inside and what needs to be examined in consciousness in the field. And through the wisdom of the 56, we can discern what, it's almost like when that globe opened, it's almost like a toy box. And every now and then you have to, clean out the toy box, because there are pieces and parts that no longer work, or broken, or you don't want anymore. And the 56 is just throwing them out of the box and clearing and creating space. And so how does the 56 help us do that? How does the message of the 56 help us look within and sort through and discern what is not working anymore, what it's time to let go of? And it shows me that when we let go of what we've stored that doesn't work anymore and it's time to let go of, we can see so much. And even our stance, our point of view, because it was having me look at the whole scene from here, from, looking over to the right. And when the toy box was clear, when the insides were cleaned out, had me look from a whole different point of view, and I see a whole different scene. So when we actually do the work to go inside and clean out, we can see so much more that opens up to us. We can go within and not be defensive within ourselves. We can be more open hearted, wholehearted with ourselves. That clarity of consciousness is not an affront to the self. Clarity of consciousness is a seeing of the self in new and ever expanding ways. And that it, it's bringing my awareness to um, mud or stagnant energy. And it wants us to know that throughout our lives, there is going to be more and more and more clarity of consciousness, that it's not about getting it done, that if I clean my toy box out, if I clean my inside out, if I look inside myself and I find what there is to purge, that it's a one and done thing, that this is an ongoing process, and to love ourselves through it and have some fun. It just started laughing when it said the last thing. So let's it wants to engage with everyone who has a question or something they'd like to share, an insight. You can raise your hand, or um, just
Yeah, I would say raise your hand and then we get to you so that people also that don't like to just take the mic can know that we're going to get to you. So if
okay. Amanda raised her hand. Bella, you want to bring her up? North
Oh, I
Node.
don't see her. There she is. Now I see you. Yeah, please ask your question.
Hi. I didn't want to be first. What I keep hearing is there's a relationship. I have the 51 as my life's work. And so I feel like there's a relationship between the 51 and the 56 for me. Like sometimes the entertaining goes into shock and I'm not always paying attention. So maybe you can talk to me about that a little bit.
Let's see what the 56 has to say about that. Uh, the way he talks, what he shows me is it's almost like you throw little. They look like little cartoon like grenades. It's like a round disc with a little flame, and you kind of toss them over.
I know what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 56, the 56 says, "Funny, not funny." Funny, not funny. That when you speak with truth, it's almost like he changes the direction of the little bomb you're throwing. It comes out in front of you. And when there's not truth, or when there's um, something that you don't want to look at, you toss it behind you. And the 56 encourages you to really speak with truth. And he says, maybe take a breath. Take a breath. You know, when we watch cartoons and the the fire is lit on the little bomb that's going to be thrown. There's like a pausing. It's like, this is how he showed it to me. It's like, light it, and then, is this true? And if it's not, he reached up and like put the spark out with his hand, like, have some discernment, do a self check. Is this really true? Because when it is true, it is funny. And when it's not true, it's not funny. So that clarity of consciousness, with clarity of consciousness, you can throw them all day long. It's like you can just, become a cannon of things that you toss out, and it's light, and it's actually good for the collective, this what you bring to light, because if it's true, it needs to be seen and heard. And just having the clarity of consciousness to discern in the moment. That's the gift that the 56 is sharing with you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for that question. It was great. What a great image that your question brought through. We could all remember that by, yeah. How about North Node? I think that's who we know North Node, and I'm sorry.
Oh yes, Oscar.
Oscar, hey, it's good to be
Hi
with you.
there.
What's going on? What would you like to
Yeah, I'm curious about the relationship between the 60 and the 56, and how can they partner with each other and become like teammates.
Yeah, so he showed it to me like this, and I'm looking at it from the beginning, but from the top. It's almost like the 60 and the 56 dance together. So imagine that it's almost like a swing dance that he's doing with the 60. And he shows me that when the 60 and the 56 are out of balance, one of them will spin the other one out of the relationship or the engagement or the situation. And so with the 60, it's really about knowing your dance partner, knowing the strengths of your dance partner. And if the 60 wants to overpower the 56, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. The teamwork, he flashed me a picture of a comedy team. And if one person is the comedy team and is doing all the jokes, and the other person isn't allowed to have a voice, the team part doesn't work. The humor is lost, right? And so there's balance with the 60, trust with the 60, because if the 60 doesn't trust the 56, or the 56 doesn't trust the 60, they can't be great dance partners, or work the spiral energy that they
Comedians.
doesn't play out. It spins you out. It spins some part of you out, and you can't, when there's a dominance and there's not trust, not balance, not respect between the 60 and the 56, then it's, you lose the spiral dynamic that is possible with the 60 and the 56. So trusting and knowing, there's a discernment about when they're working together. And now it's showing it to me like this. It's using kind of an old vaudeville act, and the 60 goes off stage while the 56 is on, and then comes back on. And so there's this interplay of knowing when the 60 and 56, it's like, um, oh, this is a good song, let's dance together. This song doesn't have the rhythm that is the best rhythm for us. So using discernment and understanding, tempo is another word that is, being flashed to me from the 56. Um, or your 60 and your 56 on the same tempo? And do they even want to dance this to the same, tune? And so, you know, I'm watching all this that the 56 is showing, and it's like discerning when that relationship is really working for you and when it's not, and to really think about, do I trust my 60 and 56 to work together? Does my 56 and my 60, do they respect each other? Are they working in balance? These are the things that come through. Oscar, do you have any follow up with that, or when you hear this wisdom come through for you, what sparks in you?
Yeah, it feels definitely that they need to be in sync with the movement and tuning into each other in order for them to have that relationship. And I guess 60 is about structure, and the 56 is more about enrichment and being alive. And so it's kind of the, the the opposite, the polar opposite. But if they trust each other and how the structure can bring aliveness into the mix, then it could be something pretty magical for them to work together. And I like the analogy of the comedians, two comedians working together and kind of like bouncing off each other, and kind of like putting the show for the crowd, and just making the crowd laugh. That's kind of like the image that came to me. So that resonated, the comedian analogy or metaphor.
Nice. Thank you for that. What a great question. And thanks for having the courage to open up the field in that way. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Simone.
You bet. Bella, what about you? Did you want to, what's sparking in you with the 56? And I'm looking at the questions. We see Miguel often see the 56 paired with the channeled mutation on the cross of laws. For me, received as though feels like it's never ending process of trying to get to the bottom of things. I find myself getting impatient but can't be upset with a comedian. It's a love-hate relationship with the 56, not easy for the recipient, but joyful and childlike for the 56. And that's a beautiful um, message. And let's ask the 56 maybe, unless somebody else
I
raises
was
their.
muted. I did have a sharing, but I was muted.
Thanks, Bella. What were you thinking? Yeah, what was sparking for you?
For me, there is something about enrichment over time, and there's also like stages in life. So I believe that what we in one stage might think is enrichment, I'm not saying that it's necessarily this distraction, but we can see that it was like one step of a stairs that we're walking up through. So I can see that for myself, like to do a quantum leap, sometimes we do that, and sometimes we need to go gradual. So I feel like for me, sometimes the enrichment hasn't been that pure, but it was still a way to kind of getting out of something that was, kind of keeping me in a loop. So I wonder if we could speak about enrichment over time is what comes to me. I don't really know what that means, but that's the question that pops.
Yeah, let's see what the 56 says. Yeah, he showed it to me like soil. enrichment over time, and he's using a soil reference, you know, like we do certain things to enrich the soil, right? And that builds for you know, when we take care of the soil, it makes for fertility when we plant seeds later on, right? um and it's also the 56 is showing, you know, if we take a cross section of the earth, we see all these different layers, and the 56 is showing us where did we strip everything away, and where have we stripped the soil, and where are we really nurturing and enriching the soil. And he says that he's pointing to the seeds that you want to plant are going to be different over the course of your whole life. And so how you enrich the soil right now may be different how you enrich it later on, because you have this, we each have in our bodies this innate knowing of how to enrich our soil for what we want to plant right now. And to understand that, you know, that enrichment is going to change over time. It may be different because you want to plant different seeds over the course of your life and build. And then it's really interesting. He's showing how, let's say you enrich your soil right now, and you plant your seed and you have that whole crop cycle, but what you enrich doesn't really go away. It's still there. So what or how you enrich, there's an imprint of it that kind of stays with you somehow. And then when the seeds that you want to plant later on in life trigger, evoke, provoke, catalyze you into enriching your soul in a different way, you do that. But you don't, there's, you know, it's like he shifts the metaphor to when we look at rings in a tree. You know, if you see a cross section of a tree, right, and the tree starts, and every year of growth there's a little ring, and a ring way in the beginning can create a rivulet, if you will, in the circle, and that will go out, and then the rivulets will sometimes morph, you know. And that's how he's showing it to me. What a beautiful question. What do
I
you know,
have
I don't know if I fully get it. What do you how are you engaging with that?
I feel like there is something about lightness. It's the wanderer, so it's here to wonder, is here to be a storyteller, and is here to play many different roles. So what I would say, almost a little bit of caution to make too much. I don't know what the word is in English. It's called rekvisita in Swedish. It's like when you are in a theater, when you're doing a play, you have all these things that you have for the plays, shares, and there are like all these things that you have on stage. And in some things of a monologue, you just might need one share, and that's your thing. And what I can see with the 56 is that, for example, in my life, when I moved from being a business consultant and like kind of working more in the corporate, then I had this realization I want to do something different. And it actually came from a wounding. So I started a company where I was importing and exporting dance shoes. So I had all these shoes because I wasn't ready or able or healed enough to say, I deserve to just dance and have fun. No, I had to start this company with import and export with all these thousands of shoes in order for me to be able to go and dance. Because I still, with an open ego center, with all the things that I was still conditioned, I couldn't take that step yet. And now, 7 years later or something, or 10 years later, I still have storage here and there in Sweden, in France, like all over the place. And that is kind of heavy, on me. And I can see that it wasn't completely from the joy of creation. I did it so that I could do something else, and that was completely okay. For it was a good enough step at that, but it wasn't true enrichment. It was a means to be able to do something else that I still wasn't unconditioned enough to do. So it's almost like, what I feel here is a little bit of a caution, like play wholeheartedly, be in your play, and know that you're never coming to your end. There's always going to be something new. So what you do in physical manifestation, that like be be aware, maybe not careful, be aware of that, because it might actually put a little bit of a brake on your wings, and you are here to fly, and you're here to feel, and you're here to be free as a 56.
Yeah, when you were talking, that 56 brought back Amanda's metaphor of, lighting the bomb. What are you going to light on fire? What are you going to, we could say blow up, or what are you going to bring to life through that, that explosion of energy? And when you were talking, the 56 brought one of those out and was watching the flame. And it's like discerning, is this truly what I want to bring to life? Is this really what I want to blow up in my life? Or, is this really what I want to bring to life in my life, and really discern, so that, is,
Yeah.
the 56 is agreeing, showing you that, this is important.
Thank you, Simone. Let's take Ron, and then after that we move on to the 31, I believe.
Sounds great. Hey, Ron.
Sure. So I would like to show an example of the process in my life. So I see that most of what we experience as daily life is pretty much a distraction from what's real, and it keeps us from really allowing our lives to be enriched. And one of the keys to being able to do that is being able to spend time away from those distractions and being able to be bored. And when you're bored, you start to create things to be not bored. And one of the things I have been creating is I have been enriching the water I drink with, I program my gene keys into the water. And so it's like an living enrichment. I haven't quite got intoxicated from water yet, but I do feel like it is really helping connect and attune to understanding and contemplating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 56 went right back to vibration as you were talking, so you're going to bandwidth there. Beautiful. Because when you do this exploration, the 56 brings me right back to the image that we started with of this planet having waveform emit, right? And when you're talking, that's what I'm seeing. I'm back in the bandwidth. So you're going to vibration, right? Because when you take that in, you create it, it's beaming bandwidth, and then you drink it, and then it's bandwidth within you that you're working with.
Yeah, I borrowed the method from Hikaru Reiki Do. It's a Reiki attunement that uses water patterning to for the attunement to take place. So it's actually, I'm attuning myself to my sequences.
I love it. It's fabulous. And let's see if the 56 has anything else. No, it just continues to bring us to the vibration that you're going to, the purity of consciousness of vibration in your enrichment. So lovely. I was like, oh, I wonder what Ron's line number is. And it's line 4. There you are, loving yourself and the world through vibration and sharing. There's not really anything else except for acknowledgement and a receiving of what you're sharing. There's no additional message. So beautiful. Thanks for sharing and expanding this field. Appreciate it.
So let's maybe take 1 minute of pause. Simone, do you want to close somehow with the 56? Or are we?
Let's see if there's anything else the 56 wants to breathe through. No, the 56 feels complete. He says, I love this conversation, and thank you all for expanding the bandwidth of what is available on Earth about, the 56. So just leave it with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.